this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Robertson, and today we've gone on a road trip for the last few days. We've actually gone to sunny Savannah, Georgia, and we're now here in Hilton Head, South Carolina. We're testing out the 2013 Hyundai Sonata. Now, during this special travel edition of Road Warrior, we actually want to check out the sights and sounds of the local establishments here in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia. Now, while in Savannah, we checked out the tallest lighthouse, where it had about 173 steps to the top. Now, once up there, of course, we had a great panoramic view of the beach and the surrounding island. While there, of course, we also checked out a local fort, kind of back in the war era, and it actually been decommissioned years ago and been in private hands for decades. Now, other things we saw in Savannah, Georgia, of course, was the downtown kind of historic district. Now, the best thing about that is it had tons of eateries. We actually went to a great burger joint there, BD's Burgers, apparently one of the most famous areas and burgers you can get in the town. Now, along Savannah, Georgia, of course, along the riverfront, you have tons of shops, more bars, pubs, eateries, and, of course, local shops. Now, on the way to Hilton Head, South Carolina, we actually took the back roads and actually went around some off the beaten paths and to see all the moss-covered trees and the scenic beauty you have along the way. Once we got to South Carolina, we actually stopped at a place called Honeyhorn. Now, that's a 68-acre-like area that's protected, and basically you're allowed, it's free admission. You come in here, they have a great around the horn kind of trail that gives you butterfly exhibits, a whole bunch of other things that are very nature-esque and beautiful on a day like this. Now, while we're here, of course, we're going to check out the beaches, some other historical landmarks, and lighthouses, of course. But now let's talk about the Hyundai Sonata. Now, during our test drive of the Hyundai Sonata, what we noticed, of course, is it has strong styling lines, if not twin separated berth issues related to the Hyundai Azera. Now, of course, what we saw in the Hyundai Azera was it's Hyundai's flagship vehicle. It's actually just a hair bigger than this lengthwise and footprint. Now, as for the Sonata, what you're going to find on this is, of course, it's the 4-cylinder version in the family, while as the Azera is going to be more the V6 power. Now, what's great about this vehicle is even with that kind of 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, you still have decent horsepower, around about 200 horses and about 180 some odd foot-pounds of torque. Now, on the Azera, we of course tested it a few months back. That's going to be around about 300 horses, just under. That's the leading in the segment line and actually has a lot of get up and go. Now, more specifically by the numbers, the Sonata is going to measure in about 189 inches. Now, it's just 4 inches less than the Azera. Now, of course, this has got about 110-inch wheelbase. Again, only 2 inches less than the Azera as well. Now, what you're looking at basically between the two is twin separated berth. They are identical looking to me. They got a lot of identical styling cues, and that's great because between one vehicle and the next, you're going to have awesome exterior power. Now, as for the differences, of course, is the V6 under the Azera and the 4 cylinders here. Now, overall, you've got, of course, sitting on 17-inch wheels, which what I like here is, of course, they have more of a brushed kind of aluminum styling, not that pronounced chrome that you see in a lot of vehicles. Again, very little chrome all the way around. You got nice body color scheme all the way around. And again, between the two vehicles, you're basically looking at a little bit of horsepower difference and, of course, a little bit length overall. But other than that, it's got the identical Hyundai styling lines, and again, a far, far cry from the earlier vehicles where they were more geekish and not as classy looking as this vehicle. Now, the one area you will find a lot of chrome, of course, is right up front and center, right on the grille, and again, that continued grille warfare you're going to see from one vehicle to the next, where they want you to notice right off the bat what this is. Now, of course, looking across, you're going to still see the aerodynamic body lines all the way across. Now, in this vehicle, this is the limited model, which means you've got dual port sunroofs here. One is operational, actually opens up to the sky, while the other one is just glass. That's going to be on the limited model. If you go to a lower model, of course, you're just going to have the one single moonroof. Now, overall, again, nice aerodynamic, and again, body color everywhere you look. Now, the best thing I love about this vehicle is it has high class with a very modest price tag. And what I'm referring to, of course, is the proximity entry key, which basically means you keep it in your pocket, walk up to your locked vehicle, one touch, and it opens right up. Of course, if you need to unlock the rest of them, you press it one more time and it does that as well. Now, again, this vehicle offers kind of high class, again, for around about the $30,000 range. Now, when you're on a road trip, of course, you got to haul your things, you got to have luggage, whatever you're taking with you, and you got to know, can this vehicle handle it? Now, of course, it can. It's got typical cargo room. You pop this up and it's got plenty of cavernous area here. You actually can kind of shove it back and stack all the non-important things in the back and the most important things right here. And again, related to the key fob, it is kind of a one-touch pop open, no handles, no clutter like that. Now as you close this, of course, one thing we do note is the backup rear camera. And that's great for unfamiliar areas, places you haven't been before, allows you to see behind you before you even start to move. Now what's great about the Sonata is that you look cool when you're driving it. When you look in the inside, it's got a dual tone interior with dark grays, got the nice leather. This leather envelops you when you sit down. So overall, of course, this is the top of the line model that we're driving. So it has all the bells and whistles, but really when you get the leather, I mean, you get in this vehicle. There's no cheap feeling fabric here. Everything is exactly where you want it. You just kind of fit in this vehicle. Now, of course, the biggest thing I look at, as always, you know it, is legroom. Now this vehicle, what it has is up to 45 inches up front. Now that's a little extreme. I mean, pretty much you get 41 inches, that's plenty. So this is obviously going to hold an NBA star, and I guess that's who they're trying to maybe cater to. So you've got 45 inches up front. Now in the back, it looks a little anemic, around 34 inches. But again, you've got about 5 inches of play up front. So easily the comfort you get up front is going to give plenty of room in the back seat. Now, what this vehicle also has, of course, is dual moonroofs. Now, on other Hyundais, we've noticed a full moonroof here. On this one, you know, you have the split, which is fine. The back one, of course, isn't operational. I really like the full one because, of course, you have a lot more open air. Also, it feels more like a convertible. But this one lets a lot of light in. It actually worked out great during our trip because we're actually able to look up and see the big tall buildings in Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah. You actually see the skyline and the cityscape and all that. Now, last but not least, of course, is the 6-speed automatic transmission, which does come with a manual-like mode. And when you're in that mode, of course, it does allow you to get a little bit quicker off the line and gives you that kind of sportsy feel. Now, what I typically don't like about these is just that, where they really don't add that kick. And on this vehicle, it literally does that. And it kind of gives you a little bit of excitement when you're in this kind of mid-size sedan. It kind of takes you back to maybe a sports coupe. Now, what I liked about layout on this vehicle is right here in the driver cockpit, where you have a nice armrest on the left on the driver door. It's kind of sculpted in, so you have somewhere to put your arm. And of course, in the middle, you have the center console as well. Now, the center console has a shallow kind of tray up top, and of course, a deeper area down low. Now, one thing I did find is that the cup holders and everything are plentiful. You've got 2 up front, and you've got bottle holders in the door as well. Now, one thing, of course, on this vehicle, you got the top of the line LCD screen that has the navigation, XM, all that. Now, I typically don't need the navigation. I do a lot of local driving. On this one, of course, we actually did a long travel trip, and we used a little bit of the navigation. The navigation worked out really well. It has points of interest. You actually can just plug in the address, of course. You can search out different things. Now that does it for this edition of Road Warrior and our little special travel segment that we wanted to bring to you. Now, of course, we've gone to Savannah, Georgia, and Hilton Head, South Carolina. Now we're taking the Hyundai Sonata to our final destination, Beaufort, South Carolina. But overall, we love the vehicle, loved our travel, and again, we'd like to thank you for watching, and as always, keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.